All right, today we've got a pretty unique TJ Fischer Fury. This thing is pretty cool. Has a couple of small issues, and we'll talk about that as we dig in, but you can already see some surprises there in the pivot, in the blade. Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so this is brand new, came to me from TJ, and it is going to my buddy Tim up in Canada. However, it's going to go back to TJ first for a little once over because there are a couple of things that we're going to talk about. But the Fury model was a design that Frank, TJ's brother, came up with. And this is one that Frank had built some years ago that I own. I am the second, third, I don't know, maybe the third or fourth, fifth owner. I don't know. These are smaller knives for sure. I didn't really think it was going to be my style and my size because it is on the smaller side. But I am a big Fischer family fan. I really am. So that's why this video is a little bit, well, it's a little difficult for me because there are some issues with this knife that I was a little conflicted about talking about. And I think most reviewers would probably just not even do the video because most everybody else only talks about the good stuff. I'm here to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So first off, let's go through the specs on these things. 4 1/8 closed, just a hair over 7 1/4 because the backspacer kind of sticks out, just pokes out a little bit past the scales, right? 3.1 inch blade, 0.022 behind the edge. Blade thickness is 0.162. This is from Baker Forge and Tool, I think it is. And this is a copper sanmai. I don't know exactly what they call it, but it's pretty stinking cool as we just zoom in. So what TJ did is he also put copper inlay in both sides of the pivot. He used end cut carbon fiber, which is super cool, with end cut carbon fiber pivot collar. Again, super cool. Black anodized titanium scales. Beautiful copper in the blade. And he had to re-etch this a couple of times because he found a scratch or there was a scratch. So he had to re-etch it. So it's not quite as dark as it originally was. But again, that's kind of above my expertise. And this one is a bolster lock, unlike the one I got from Frank. Well, secondhand, but that is a frame lock. I like both. I don't have a problem with either. I will tell you that this one just feels like a truly different knife because of the carbon fiber, the weight, it weighs in at 4.8 ounces, by the way. Mine weighs in at 4.9 ounces. So maybe the weight really doesn't play into it, but it feels totally different in my hand. The action is definitely different. Partially, I think that's because of the copper in the scales. It just doesn't have quite as smooth of action. Now, granted, this one is more brand new, so it needs some time to break in. Okay, runs on bearings, end-cut carbon fiber, copper sanmai. The copper sanmai is also the backspacer and the pocket clip. Very similar to mine. I think this is Chad Nichols, but I don't know for certain. But they use the same steel for the pivot collars, the backspacer, and the pocket clip. That is something that I am sure other makers do, but it is certainly something that all of the Fischers do. Whatever your blade steel is generally what the backspacer is going to be out of. Not all the time. As you get into some of the more exotic, my full dress battles and things like that, It has a zirconium backspacer, zircuti backspacer, which it's obviously not a zircuti blade, but generally speaking, on their more normal models, everyday models, you're going to see the same steel from the blade, the backspacer, and the pocket clip. That's just something that they do, and it's for machining purposes, right? Because that way they can machine the blade and the backspacer the same. They know it's going to be the same thickness. They're not going to have alignment problems as they build the knife, things like that. So, a couple of the things on this, and it happens to every maker, okay? With production knives, you're going to get some quality discrepancies here and there, right? This one might be perfect. This one might not be, coming off the Benchmade line, Spyderco line, things like that. With handmade, full dress, one-off custom knives, they're still going to have a miss here and there. Without any further, just going to get into it. It's not sharpened. So I don't know if by the time he edged it the second time, he just forgot to do a final sharpen on it, because the bevels are there, like the initial grind is there, but it's literally not sharp. Like it's just not sharp. It's not going to cut paper. It's not going to cut anything. That alone is not a big deal for the new owner. He's up in Canada. He can sharpen it. He has a lot of friends there that sharpen and things like that. It is a miss, obviously, because it should be sharp, right? I mean, come on, we gotta do better. And then there is a little bit of not side to side play on the blade, but a little bit of blade play, like in a closing. So like a lock rock, but not really. It's so minute. But as I was kind of playing with this and trying to kind of break it in and get the action a little smoother, I noticed that. And then I noticed that there is a kind of a lock bar. It's hard to see with the lighting. On just a normal open, if I can get, the lock bar has movement. So I think it's hard because it's all black and my finger gets in the way, but there is movement there, and it's just not really fully seating and locking up. And the action is not super smooth. It's not gritty or anything. It's just, I think it probably just needs more time to break in. So I'm not really too bummed about the action. But because it's going into Canada and it's sometimes sketchy getting in and out of Canada, the owner has decided to have me send it back to TJ for a once over, and then TJ will send it directly up to the owner. Things happen. TJ got it. He understands. He said, no problem. Send it back. I'll take care of it. So we can't hold that stuff against people. Things happen. Should it happen? No. Should we be perfect at our jobs every freaking day of the year? Yes, we should all be perfect and never make a mistake at work. Stuff happens. I'm not too bent out of shape about it. Here is another one that I do own from Baker Forge. This is from Papa Bear Knives. They've changed their name, Primal Blade something. I don't remember. But this is also a copper Baker Forge copper sandmai of some sort. Again, I don't remember the exact name of this pattern, but yeah. So I do love a little bit of copper. The copper is not my favorite thing, but a little bit of copper goes a long way. Here is my TJ Fischer Cobra that I love. This is small knife also. It's 3.5 inch blade, 3 1/4, 3 3/8. But it just fills my hand a little bit better with the handle. So this is more my speed. I have the Fury because it's a Fischer, and I have a crazy Fischer collection. So there you go. So a couple of quick size comparisons here with the Sharpie. How about with the VC Edge interface that is also using end cut carbon fiber? And just because I can, how about an RJ Martin Q36 SS? All right, there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on how perfect a maker should be and, things like that, because I care. And again, I am just always going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, even if a maker that I really like, respect, am, internet friends with, if you will, screw something up, I'm just going to tell it like it is. It's all I can do. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.